Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and I want to welcome you to Success Mentorship class number 390. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And let me tell you something, folks. Today, you are in for a super treat. Our speaker today is Dawn Lovell. And you know, Dawn, when she brings it home. Dawn is speaking, and her topic for today is one that I think resonates from everybody, from stuck to unstoppable. I think that's where we'd all like to go. Sometimes we get stuck in our lives, and it's like, man, will I stay here stuck all my life? Will I ever get out of this? Well, Dawn is saying that you can go from stuck to unstoppable. You can turn your life around. So thank you so much for being with us. Also, I wanted to wish a special happy birthday to Elaine Short. Elaine has been here every Saturday morning. So happy birthday, Elaine, and may you have hundreds of more. May you be the longest living person on the planet. Once again, this is Dr. Herbert Harris. Our website is herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com. And be sure to join us, visit our website, get a copy of our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and schedule a success consultation. So before we get going, let me do our meditation to get us in the proper space so that you can hear the powerful, incredibly life-changing words of Dawn Lovell. So let us just sit straight up in our seats for a moment. Close your outer eyes. Open your inner eyes. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath and hold it. Let it out slowly. And in the space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Just let that peace sink in. And in this space of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. All right. Well, let me bring up the superstar for the moment. A number of people here. Let me admit all the folks. Let me get our view up and let me bring in the star, Dawn Lovell. Here we go. Good morning, Dawn.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Harris. Good morning
You
to
have
the
to unmute.
Mastermind group. Good morning, everyone.
Beautiful.
Good,
Thank you
good.
so much for being with us today. You know, and I looked at your topic from stuck to unstoppable. I said to myself, that's one of those topics that only you would come up with because that's a topic that I think it's going to resonate with everybody because we say, man, I've been there, done that, and got a t-shirt to prove it. So without further ado, let Dawn Lovell step onto the world stage at the Success Mentorship class. Dawn, take it away.
Thank you again, Dr. Harris. Good morning to our mastermind group. Good morning to those of you on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're watching us from, wherever in the world, whatever time zone you're in. Good morning, good evening, welcome and welcome. So today, I'm just back here to have a quick conversation with you, really. And again, this topic is one that resonated with me because many times we go through situations in life where we feel stuck. And as this topic came to me, you know, I really was searching myself because for me, as with most of us, we go through periods of life where we feel we were moving, and then at a point we reach what we call a plateau. And when we reach that plateau, sometimes it's difficult to know what to do next. Sometimes it's difficult to know what is my next move? How do I move from here? What else do I need to do now? And this topic came to me from stuck to unstoppable. And I mean, it seems kind of far-fetched, to be honest with you. When you think about it, unstoppable, what does that mean? How do I become unstoppable? I hear many people talking, many motivational speakers, stuff talking about being unstoppable, but what does that really mean? So what I'm going to do is, as usual, I'm going to share one of my personal stories because I believe that you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have lived it. You have to be in it to understand what other people are experiencing and how you would have moved from being stuck to unstoppable and to let people know how it is possible to make that move. So I will share with you again about 5 years ago. Many of you would have heard my story before. You know, before COVID, I was working very comfortably in corporate for like almost 30 years. I was in that particular job for like 16 years, and I was quite comfortable. Can I tell you, I was actually quite comfortable, but I was uncomfortably comfortable. And I'm going to explain what that means. So I knew that there was more for me. I knew there was more that I was supposed to do. But I was comfortable where I was because it was satisfying certain needs. It was taking care of my basic needs. I'd become comfortable. I had acquired some really great work relationships, and it was somewhere where I felt like I was needed. Can I say that again? I felt like I was needed. Maybe it was that I needed that, or I felt I needed that, but I felt needed. So it was comfortable to sit back and to relax, and just kind of let life go by. Even though deep in my spirit, I knew that there was more I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I was supposed to be really pushing my business. I knew I was supposed to be pushing other gifts that God had given me, and there were other projects I was supposed to move forward with. But I had gotten comfortable. And I would dare say I had actually gotten a bit complacent. Complacency had set in. So, one of the most destructive things in your life, and I will not even apologize for saying this, is becoming complacent. Complacency, when that sets in, complacency is a very dangerous place to be. And I want to explain to you the definition of the word complacency so that you understand, you get a deeper understanding of what this really means. So, complacency is a state of being that, or a contentment that leads to a lack of awareness of potential dangers, problems, or the need for improvement. So I'm going to break that word down again. Complacency, it is a state of self-satisfaction or contentment that leads to a lack of awareness of potential dangers, problems, or the need for improvement. So I was sitting in a place of complacency. I was not aware of the potential danger that was about to happen. I was not aware of the disruption that was about to happen that was called COVID. I had no idea, and I didn't understand that at that point I needed to be very aware of what was happening around me. So I got complacent. I wasn't aware that I needed to improve. Things were good. Things were actually okay. I was settled. I was comfortable. Things were going along smoothly. I could pay my bills. There are so many things I could do. So I had gotten complacent in that place, not knowing what was ahead. And you know what? The thing about it is complacency. It always looks, it's just so comfortable to be. It's being the status quo. Even when change is necessary, we sit in that place. And even though sometimes we know that God is calling us to something higher, that there's something we've put on the shelf, there's something that we've put down that we know we're supposed to be working on. And in business or personal growth, as I said, complacency can be dangerous. Why? Because it creates a blind spot for us. We stop striving, we stop innovating, and we fail to notice the risk until it's too late. So in my case, what happened to me is that COVID hit. And when COVID hit, immediately we heard the story broke, and here where I am in the Caribbean, one day we just got told, okay, guys, it's time to go home. Everybody has to pack up and go home. Take your computer, take your office chair if you need, but we're shutting down the office. And when we shut that office down and we went home, again, it was thinking everything was going to be okay because at this time I had been in this company for 16 years. So I didn't understand the disruption that was about to happen to my life. Complacency will cost you. It will cost you. I want to take you back. Many of you, some of you might be a little more mature than I am. Some of you may be younger. But I remember when we had things like the Kodak camera. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That camera that when you went on vacation, you bought this camera and you wanted to take those pictures there, and it had like this camera roll thing, you had to actually go get pictures developed. And how many of you remember the rotary phone? I remember being young and taking that phone and you had to take it up with a big handle and you put your finger in the dial and you made a call. All right. And then there's the dial-up internet. Like, who remembers dial-up internet where you sat at your computer and you waited for sometimes 20 minutes to get on the internet? Well, if you're in the Caribbean like I am, sometimes 15, 20 minutes before you actually were able to connect. All of those were things that happened years ago. And you know what? Those things are no longer relevant. Complacency can make you irrelevant. Can I tell you? Complacency will make you irrelevant. Those are some of the things that we saw years ago that we no longer see now. So I want to help you define what is this thing, because to move from stuck to unstoppable, there's something that you need to do, and there's a skill that you need to have, and there's a skill that you need to master. That skill, and this is from my research, over time, my own personal experience, there's so many talks about what is success. Success is a secret. What is the secret to success? Many people ask that question. Can I tell you, success is not a secret. Success is a system. And one of the biggest skills, the most important skills you're going to need, I don't know if anybody can help me, if anybody can think, you can put it in the chat. I would love to hear what you think is one of the most important skills that you should have in this season so that you can move from being stuck to unstoppable. And Katie, Augustine, thank you so much. Oh, somebody said AI. AI is a tool that we can use for sure, but Katie said it. Adapt. Adapt. Adaptability is going to be one of your greatest skill sets in this season and in your season from stuck to unstoppable. So let's talk about adaptability and why is adaptability so very important. I'm going into teacher more today. I'm a trainer and I love training. So whenever I go in front of my students or my participants, I need to sit down and break things down for them so they have an understanding, so that when they go away, they have tools and tips and skills that they can implement right away. They usually say, what do I do next, Dawn? How do I do this? And for me, having a person know, because for me, knowing how to was always my biggest challenge. Many people spoke and they taught, but they never told me, how do I do this? How to do this? This is the how to. This is the gap that needs to be filled. So let me explain what adaptability is. It's a very simple definition. Adaptability is your ability. We've heard this word so much in COVID. Pivot. It's your ability to adjust. It's your ability to keep moving forward in the face of change, uncertainty, or setbacks. And COVID taught us that. When COVID came, we had to change the way we did stuff. And there were some businesses that were not able to adapt quickly enough, and those businesses no longer exist. There were people that were not able to adapt quickly enough. And what happened to them? Some of them became obsolete. And that's not to degrade anybody, but we have to understand that as time progresses, there's an adaptability that needs to happen. Yes, there's situational leadership. We need to be able to analyze. And cricket, my son plays cricket, and we always talk about situation analysis. You have to be able to analyze the situation, see what is necessary, and adapt. Now, adaptability, and why does it matter so much now more than ever? Because of the rapid changes that we're seeing. You know, in the US, I followed the US, elections, and it was, oh my goodness, I think that was one of the most, I'd never really followed the elections before, but this one I followed because I wanted to see what was going on. And there was so much a drastic change. There was so much that was going on surrounding the election. And now we are in an era where there's so much that has changed. There's so much that has changed within the last 9 months, within the last 6 months, within the last 2 weeks. Change is the only thing that is going to be constant. So adaptability is so very key now to your success. You see, the disruption is not occasional anymore. It's constant. There's constant disrupting. People are disrupting the way we think, the way we act, the way we do business, the way everything is being disrupted. But isn't that a good thing? It can be a great thing. Disruption is not necessarily a bad word. Because when things are being disrupted, it means that you now have to be able to adapt. It means that what you were doing before, maybe it doesn't work anymore, and you have to be able to pivot. Many organizations, you're hearing about agile organizations. These words are words now that are the buzzwords around business. Agility, adaptability. You see, the winners are not always the strongest or the smartest people. I am sure that if you look around, if you look around, if you're working for someone, you're looking the business and the organization, you will see that the ones that are successful are not always the ones that are the strongest or the smartest. Let's be real. Sometimes you're looking at someone and you're saying, but how did they get there? They come into a meeting or you sit down and you're hearing them speak and you're like, okay, wow. I'm still wondering how they got that position. It's because they didn't have to be the smartest, but they were the most adaptable. They're the one that saw the gaps. They're the one that saw the issues. They're the ones that were able to negotiate their value. These are the ones. This is how you gain success. Now, agile generally refers to like a mindset or method or way of working that emphasizes flexibility, responsiveness, and continuous improvement. You have to be able to adapt quickly to the environment. I understood so much better now. I understand so much better now because when I was released from my job, when I was let go in COVID, I could have been bitter. I could have sat in my sorry state and said, why me? But I started to unravel and I asked myself, Dawn, at this point in time of your life, was this a curse or was it a blessing? Because I know some people that they were part of that follow. I know some people that they were part of that downsizing or right sizing, as we called it. Some people that I knew, unfortunately, had to go into counseling. Some people went into depression because they thought that that was all they could do. They thought that there was nothing else outside of it. Are you one that's thinking that this is all there is? Are you feeling stuck where you are right now in your business, in your organization, in your family, in what you're doing, and you're feeling like, this is it. I don't know what my next step needs to be. This is all I've known. This is all I've been accustomed to. And right now, I feel stuck. No, you're only in a place where you need to learn to adapt. You need to get more agile. Your feet need to be light. You need to understand that there's success on the other side. There's a mountain that looks like it's too high for you to climb. There's a mountain that looks like it will never move out of your way. But if you learn to adapt, now if I'm facing a mountain, what am I going to do? I'm going to learn to mountain climb. Or if I don't, I'm afraid of mountain climbing or don't know how to do it or it takes too long and I do not understand, I'm going to figure out a way to move around that mountain. You see, it is all about perspective. It's all about our perspective. It's important to have people around you. You know why? Good people around you, people that will give you wise counsel. You know why? Because sometimes our perspective is flawed. Sometimes it's skewed based on our experience, based on what we've been through, based on trauma in the past, based on the current situation. Sometimes our perspective is skewed. And it's important to have someone around you to show you that you may be looking at this way, but let's look at this another way. I had that experience only this week. I was going through a situation where I too was feeling a bit stuck. And there were some things that were happening. And I said, but this confirms my stuckness. Oh my goodness. That's not a word. I think I just created it. But this confirms my stuckness. Everything around me was speaking to where I was and how it was that I wasn't moving forward. And then a very important person in my life, my husband, he said to me, he said, Dawn, look at it from this perspective. Look at it this way. You see, you're seeing it as a negative. I see it as a positive. This is an opportunity. That is the first part of your being able to adapt. Your perspective needs to change. You see, flexibility is something that we talk about, but we don't understand how it means to be flexible. What does flexibility look like? Now, we always talk about, like, for instance, if you were a dancer, dancers need to be flexible because they need to contort themselves into all kinds of different positions, into all kinds of different movements. It makes them fluid. We have to learn how to be flexible, how to be fluid. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you go with everything that's around you. It doesn't mean that, you subscribe to everything, but you have to know how to go with the flow. You have to know how to adapt. One of the things that many people say is, this is the way I am. This is the way I've done it. In organizations, many of us have heard that. There's a battle going on in organizations right now between the Gen Zs and the not necessarily millennials, but the baby boomers. There's a silent war that's happening. There is a let's do it this way. This is new. Let's be agile. And there's okay, I've done it this way before. This way worked. I'm not interested in how you're doing now. What you're doing now is just it's a myth. It's frivolous. It's gonna blow away with the wind. We've done it this way all along, and we've met this amount of success. But can I tell you, I want you to assess where you are. I want you to ask yourself a question. What else could work? Because many people sit in a place of stuckness, being stuck, feeling stuck, and they ask, why me? Why am I here? What happened? What did I do wrong? What did I not do? What should I have done? All those are questions that will not move you from being stuck to being unstoppable. Asking yourself the question, what else can work? What is a different perspective I need to have? Reframing the obstacles. As I said, looking at them from a different perspective. See your problems as data, because you see, there's a vocabulary as well that we have to adopt. See problems as data. When you have data, you use that data to make strategic decisions. You look at the data, you see what's the trend. Where were the ups? Where were the downs? What did I do here? What was the result? And you use your data, no, your problems as data, not as disasters. It is about perspective. You got to look at it from a different side. You got to experiment. So test new things and try new things. What is it that is available to me? What is it that there is now that is happening with around me? And how can I adapt? How can I utilize what I have now? What I can utilize, how I'm seeing? How do I need to upskill myself? What is it that I need to learn now? How more do I need to develop? And when I do that, now I need to test. Many of us are afraid to test. You know why? Because we want it perfect in the beginning. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I will say that out loud. I'm a recovering perfectionist because for me, I wouldn't start unless it was perfect. The video had to be right. The background screen had to be right. I had to have the right words. They had to come out right. When I first started doing video, I would change my video. I would delete videos. I did videos over about 21 times, no lie. 21 times was the average because I did it, deleted it. It's not right. Your hair is not right. Your makeup's not right. The lighting is not right. You said a wrong word. And I would do it. And it took so much time for me to get one done. One 1-minute video. And it took 21 takes. No. Is that necessary? No. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that you will be looked at? Are you afraid that people will see you as not right? People will see your flaws? What is it that you're afraid of? Test. Test that project. Test with that book. It doesn't have to be perfect. I looked back at my first book the other day and I said, wow, well, this can do with an upgrade. There can always be upgrades. There can always be upgrades, but you have to test. That's how you're going to move from being stuck to being unstoppable. Many of us feel stuck because we're not moving. We're not testing. We're not trying something new. The next thing you have to do, you have to stay curious. Stay curious. As someone said to me, I think I heard some really profound speakers say this, curiosity is another great skill. Children are very curious. And that's why they learn so quickly. We have to become curious. We have to read. We have to listen. We have to know that there are spaces for us. There are people that have information that we can feed from. And we need to learn to feed now from unusual places. You see, when you're agile and you learn to adapt, there are some places that before that you would not necessarily take information from. And I'm not saying take everything, but take what's for you. There may be somebody out there that you never listened to before, and you say, let me just take a moment to listen to this person. And there's one nugget in there for you. You might listen to an hour of content and find one nugget that will change your life. You have to be adaptable. Can you adapt quickly? Why this is so important to me as well is because this is one of my biggest struggles. It has been one of my biggest struggles in some very simple areas of my life. So for instance, I used to go to the gym and I would work out for a year. I would work out for 6 months and I'd be going so well. And one thing would change in my routine. Something changed. My job hours changed. Something changed in my routine. And immediately it would throw me off track. And it would take me sometimes a year to get back there, sometimes 2 years to get back to the gym. Why? Because I wasn't adapting easily. When you don't adapt easily, you lose time. You lose time. So today, I really want you to think about, have you been adapting? Have you been being agile? Have you been being flexible? Have you been searching around and looking to see what are the different things that I can do now? What can I add? What do I need to change about me and the way I do things? What are the systems I need to put in place? Now, AI is all around us. And while AI is a great tool, it will never replace human intelligence. But AI is the way things are going. It helps us to move faster. It helps us to be more efficient. It helps us to cut out some of those mundane tasks. Are you still a paper pusher? What is it that you're doing that is keeping you stuck right now? Adaptability is one of the greatest skills you will ever be able to use in order to progress your life and to see success. Mastery of adaptability, being able to look at your situation analysis, and be able to adapt and see what do I need to change here so that I can keep moving. So I want you, as I close, to think of one area in your life, your business, your work, where you've been stuck. Identify one small action that you need to take this week. Because, I come with a challenge. I come with an exercise. I come with an activity. I want you to think this week, What is one small action? It doesn't have to be big. Small movements. You move the needle just 1 point at a time, because sometimes we want to do big changes. And when we think about the big change, that big change overwhelms us. Small movements. Identify that one small action that you need to move forward and test it. Test it. Adaptability is not about avoiding situations. Let me repeat that. It's not about avoidance. Adaptability is your ability to use the situation, to manipulate the situation, to be fluid in the situation, even if it's not a great circumstance that's happening around you. So I challenge you today that your most valuable skill right now isn't what you already know. It's how quickly you can learn, adjust, and act. And that's what's going to move you from being stuck to being unstoppable. No one is going to stand in front of a moving train. If that train is parked, definitely you can stand in front of it. You can have a conversation. It's not going anywhere. It's not transporting anybody. It's not doing anything. But as soon as that engine is revved and that train starts to move, you better get out of its way. So I encourage you, be like that train today and be unstoppable. Remember, the winners are not always the strongest and the smartest. The winners are those that are most adaptable. So, thank you so much. I hope that this has been an inspiration to you. I hope that you're going to be adaptable. This is one of the secrets that I have learned to success and to being unstoppable. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if Dr. Harris is still with us. I think he's probably driving. So we're going to move into our segment where we have our discussion for those of you that are online, for those of you on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook that are watching us live. Thank you so much for joining us. We encourage you to join us though in the Zoom room. In the Zoom room is where it's all happening. In the Zoom room is where we have the discussions. In the Zoom room is where we talk and thresh things out. So I encourage you to join us. Link with Dr. Harris. Thank you so much, Dr. Harris. You're still there. We're encouraging people to join us in the masterclass on Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Join us. Over to you, Dr. Harris.